What can I do for you?
I've been wanting to do a music episode since I started this podcast, but I just wasn't sure how to do it, so this is just me pulling the trigger here. And I thought for the first music episode, I wanted to do non-English language music groups or solo artists. And these are just perfect for like the kind of mood that I'm usually in for these things is when I want music, but I can't afford to be distracted. So like I'm doing, like if I'm trying to be productive at work or if I'm doing homework for classes and stuff, my issue is that my brain will lock into lyrics and then my ability to pay attention to other things just goes completely out the window. And so I started listening to foreign music from outside the United States that was not spoken in English, or at least 90% not in English. And so I wanted to share. I think I have my 7 favorite artists from outside the United States, or 7 of my favorite artists from outside the United States. First up is Koda Kumi. She's a Japanese urban and R&B artist. She's got 18 studio albums, 2 cover albums, 10 compilation albums, 10 remix albums, 9 live albums, and 57 singles. Talk about a career. Not to mention, well, I'm going to talk about this later too, but she is like also a fashion icon. Anyways, I first found out about her, or first heard her music. I was a kid, and she is actually the one who sings the opening song for Final Fantasy X Part 2. So it's a sequel to Final Fantasy X, but not Final Fantasy 11. Unless you play the Final Fantasy series, it won't make sense. Anyways, that song is called Real Emotion. And fun fact, she actually motion acted the dance moves for the character she voiced. And when she's playing in this opening scene, she's actually on this like 360 stage, and so it's like a giant like golden Buddha looking thing playing the drums, which is just sick. But then it's got a crowd all the way around her, and she's just on a circular stage in the middle, playing. And that's the first time, obviously, as a kid, the first time I would have come up with seen the concept of a 360-degree stage, and then ever since then I've always like loved those. But anyways, that song, Real Emotion, is also the intro for today's episode. So that's the song you heard off the top. So a little bit about her career. Her first single was in December of 2000, and she is very much still active. In fact, her most recent concert was in 2021. It was a charity concert for childhood cancer treatment, and her YouTube has a new music video just 2 months ago. So she's definitely still going strong in her career. And obviously you heard me at the top talking about how much albums she has. There's so much content to go and listen to her. She's fantastic. Another fun factoid about Koda Kumi was that she was the first singer in the world to use Oculus Rift to shoot a music video, and that music video was Dance in the Rain. So kind of neat little spot of history she gets to hold on to there. And that bit I first talked about with her being a fashion icon in Japan, it's best described as, unfortunately, this is the term that's just used. I wish there was a different way of saying that, but her sexy image, which she started in like 2003, which has been at this point propped up as a feminist statement. So she's kind of like owning, like her body and stuff. And so I guess I'm a little less uncomfortable, given that she's the one that like pursued this image. And there's actually this whole thing you can read into where she was like, I'm being approached, like this could be an image I could do, but I don't want to, dishonor my parents or whatever. So she actually went and got her parents' permission to pursue this imagery. So anyway, she is credited with starting the Ero Kawaii or Ero Kakoi trend. I apologize. I am sure I am mispronouncing that word. It's ERO space kawaii, Kawaii, or kekoi, Kakkoi. And these words basically mean erotic cute or erotic style. It's along the lines of sexy and cool. So she started a sexy and cool a fashion trend in Japan in the early 2000s. And she's particularly credited for making the wearing of lingerie in public more acceptable in Japan. That's quite the thing to be held up for. But she also, for her fashion stuff, she's also won awards like Best Jeanist Award and Nail Queen, because I guess her nail art was so amazing. I did not look at those nails that won her the kind of title of Nail Queen. I only ever like looked in paid attention to her music, but it's so good. And I love that she has been producing music since December of 2000, because you can just hear how much like her voice has changed over the last 24 years. And I love that she has no plans of like quitting anytime soon. So 100%, this is an artist you should go check out. If you think you might be into like Japanese R&B and stuff. The second one I wanted to talk about is also Japanese. It's a group called Necry Talkie. And I found them through a YouTube channel called First Take. And the concept for this channel is that they bring in Japanese artists and they give them just one shot, one take to sing a song. And any mistakes they make, any blunders, anything, they just have to try and catch it, recover, and keep on going, because they only get that one take, and then that's what's uploaded to YouTube. And it, of course, leads to these fun little like these little mishaps and stuff. And the particular video I found her on, she was the lead singer was the one who came on to the First Take show, and her name is Mosa, and she performed with the lead singer of another band called Mamoru Taniguchi, and the other lead singer is Mamoru Taniguchi from the band Kanabun. So Mosa and Mamoru performed this song together, and it was just really fun, really boppy, and I liked her voice. So then I started checking out her music, and so it's a Japanese rock band, and they're a lot newer. They only formed in 2017, but they had their first record by 2018. And let me tell you what, I really wish more bands would move that fast. And I'm particularly looking at you, Dexter and the Moonrocks. I need more music, and I would love a full album as soon as possible. Okay, back to Necry Talkie though. There's no better way to describe her band and her music or their music other than just fun. There's like bouncy rhythms and melodic. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Melodic vocals. And it feels like a group of friends just hanging out and making fun stuff. It's like oddly used instruments sometimes. Like if you check out their music video or their song, You Should Head North. I think that's a really good example of this. And just to go along with it, like their music videos are also just like not ordinary. Like they're just kind of different, and just like they're just having fun, So there's this there's one where the first third of the music video, they're just like all standing in a bathroom playing. And the second third, they're playing in a van. And then in the third part of the music video, they're actually at a concert venue. And they've got like another song called Chacapoko, which is supposed to be an onomatopoeia for the sounds of the musical instruments. So if variation of sounds and experimentation with instruments, I think that's maybe the best way to describe it. If that's your thing, you got to check out Necry Talkie. And this one's going to be the odd one out, but my third recommendation is The Who. It's a Mongolian folk metal band formed in 2016. And they use traditional instruments and throat singing. And some of their lyrics include like stuff from like old Mongolian war cries and poetry. So that is just like a really, it seems like would be super niche, but they're actually doing these huge, like they've been doing global tours, and they've had the opportunity to do crazy stuff, mostly because of also the way I found out about them was they got to sing the song called Sugon Esene, and it was the song used in a Star Wars game called Jedi Fallen Order, and then it was also reused in the sequel to that game. And so that's how I came to like know who the Who was, and I think that's probably how a lot of other people came to do it. Fun fact about that song: they originally drafted the song in Mongolian, and then they rewrote it into an alien language for Star Wars, and then sang it in that language. Of course, when you hear it live, they don't do it in the alien version; they do it in Mongolian. Probably because it would be really hard. We're trying to remember this whole false language to do live. That would be crazy. But another fun fact about the song is they also, the song also got used in The Sims 4, or not the song, a different song. Getting my notes messed up. The Legend of Mother Swan, that was used in Sims 4, and then that time in The Sims they speak a language called Simlish, and so they had to convert that song into the Simlish, which is just if Faith was here, she could probably speak Simlish for us. Anyways, I usually listen to this if I want some kind of like epic background noise, so it's not really when I'm working. It's more like when I'm like writing. And so I like to tailor my playlists when I'm writing to like the theme of whatever it is I'm like trying to actively write. So if I'm doing like a battle scene or like the kind of like hype up to that, I like to put on music like The Who, and just like kind of like get in that mental state. And so it's just perfect for that. And so to wrap it up, I just like really appreciate their like work and efforts to have a modern rock group with like a traditional identity at their like foundation. I think there's something really like you can appreciate that regardless if you like heavy rock music. And so again, gotta check it out to see for yourself. They don't have anything that's not good. So and that's the case I think for every single one of these artists and groups today is everything is an absolute banger. The next one is Nujabes. I've never heard his name. And as pretty much all of these, I've never heard their name actually spoken. So I don't know how to pronounce any of these. I'm being very upfront about that. But Nujabes, he was a Japanese record producer, audio engineer, DJ, composer, arranger. He mostly worked with like hip hop, soul, and jazz stuff. And when he was alive, he only released 2 albums. There was one that came out shortly after he passed away in a traffic collision. And then he also owned his own independent record company called Hideout Productions, which is still ongoing today. So he is also considered the godfather of lo-fi hip hop. I've also heard it pronounced lo-fi. Don't come at me. I've heard both ways. Although when I was doing some more digging around this, I do know that a lot of people like dispute him being the godfather of that genre because his music doesn't necessarily fall into it. And it's more so that like he was the inspiration for the people who actually got that genre off the ground. But like as I think about that, it's like, doesn't that make you in some way the godfather of the genre if you are the artist that inspired all the other artists or all the major artists early on to like produce that kind of music? I feel like in some way that makes you the godfather, right? Maybe that just makes you not the father, but definitely the godfather. Anyways, we can go circular on this. I found him through a show called Samurai Champloo. The soundtrack for that is a lot of it is done by him. It's an anime that's set in feudal Japan, but it uses heavy hip hop and cultural elements from like more modern times. And so this show is like my number one go-to for trying to relax, and it's the top 3 favorite like anime ever. It's just to coin a popular phrase right now, it's peak. If I ever bought a record player though, the record for Samurai Champloo would be the very first purchase I would make after buying that record player, because it is just, it's too good. Anyways, I listen to a lot of like remixes of his music on YouTube. Like if the day is just going real long, it's the perfect like soundtrack to your life. And but there's just nothing bad I can say about any of these artists. All of their music is just, it's like the soundtrack to my life. That's how often I have it playing in the background. Yeah, I don't know what else to say for it, but you got to check it out. So next up, we're going to France. Les Improtis. Les Improtis? I don't know. It's French for The Empress. This was found, it was a random YouTube algorithm recommendation. And it's a French pop and new disco band formed in Paris in 2012. And it's like this century dance music that's risen because of interest in 1970s disco, which was then mixed with 80s European dance music styles and early 90s EDM. So that's a lot of like overlapping elements to new disco. And I can definitely say I'm also one of those people who are very, very interested in 1970s disco music. I wish there were still disco clubs. I would absolutely mess up a disco club. Okay, so for Les Improtis, their album, Taco Subo, is perfection. Smooth listening, heavy on the vibes, funky sounds. There's just, from start to end, it's perfect. And I know I'm using the word perfect so much, but that's because all of these bands, all my are my, some of my favorites. So obviously I think they're all perfection, right? Anyways, Les Improtis is touring the US right now. They actually turned me on to a lot of French music, much like our next group, Polo and Pan. They're a French duo, mix of like house, electronic, and sounds from around the world. And so their aesthetics are like too good in their video. It's like brightly colored illustrations with 70s psychedelic designs, which translates also really well onto their website design. As someone who works with websites and builds websites, I love the aesthetics of their website. I think it's just so it's so representative of their brand. So props to whoever made that site. Now they only have 2 albums and like I think 5 EPs is what I counted. There's really not much on them online. Unfortunately, there's just like not that much to like share about them. But they have plenty of music to check out. Long releases to just put on the background if you got like an hour and a half to listen as like background music. Perfect for them. And then we have Bad Not Good, which is a little bit closer to home than any of our other groups. They're actually from Toronto, Canada, founded in 2010, and they are English speakers, but they don't talk in their songs. So it's still perfect for when I'm not trying to focus and hear, or for when I am trying to focus and I don't want to hear English speakers. And so their music is like, it's an instrumental band. And so they're like notoriously hard to like actually pin down to like one identity genre. So it's like easiest to just call them genre fluid. They float between all sorts of different versions of jazz and hip hop. And this was actually another random YouTube algorithm pick. So I found them on YouTube by accident, and then I got sucked into it, and now I've been listening to them for about 2 years now, and I've listened to just about everything that they have uploaded on their YouTube channel. So they've got 6 solo studio albums, and the latest actually came out in July of this year, but they've collaborated with some of my other like favorite English speaking artists, including like Tyler the Creator, Kendrick Lamar, and MF Doom. They've been nominated for 5 Grammys, won 2 of those, and they really have no shortage of music to listen to when it comes to these guys. And like I said, there's limited lyrics, so that it's really hard to get distracted to them. My last recommendation is an album called Spin the Globe by Connor Price. And I'm recommending this album because it was a TikTok project where this guy Connor would spin the globe, drop a finger on a random country, find an up-and-coming artist in that country, and collaborate with them for a song. And then once the project was over, he put all of these individual these singles together with artists from around the world, dropped it into one album called, like I said, Spin the Globe. So it's really fun. That's a really fun concept and a great way to easily hear from a bunch of different artists from around the world. So all of these are going to be linked in the show notes of this podcast. All of them except for Spin the Globe will be YouTube links. Spin the Globe is just going to be going to Spotify. I highly recommend checking out the YouTube channels because you get the visual component that I think really elevates these bands and these artists. And it's easier than like finding foreign artists on YouTube than it is like Spotify. So unfortunately, Spotify and non like English speaking artists are just, they don't work well. Spotify's, I love it, but there's definitely issues with finding these kinds of artists on there. That's it. I'm going to close out with Chacapoco from Necry Talkie. So enjoy it.